And Horford's a big game player. Man, you get him healthy in the playoffs, he's going to show up. He's not necessarily an 82-game guy at this stage of his career, and so maybe there's a little bit of concern there. But for your last roster spot and to be part of your big rotation, I'd be thrilled if the Lakers could get Al Horford.
So yesterday, I'm scrolling around on Twitter, and somebody put out, his name's Trevor Lane. He said, so far the Lakers have brought in DeAndre, Jake LaRavia, Adu Thiero, while losing Dorian Finney-Smith, Markieff Morris, and Alex Len. Have they improved this offseason? I voted on your poll. 62% of the people out there say that the Lakers got better. 30% said they stayed the same. And 7% thought that the Lakers got worse. You know why I thought this was, by the way, really good poll. And I think I was a fan of it because if I asked most people, hey, if the Lakers, there hasn't really been a big splash for the Lakers, right? Mm-hmm. However you want to look at what the Lakers have done. Yes, they got Ayton, but there is no blockbuster that's happened. And I think that naturally there could be some negativities associated with the Lakers just based off of that. What I liked about the poll, and I want to actually get your thoughts on this as well. What I liked about the poll is most Laker fans were like, no, I think we got better. Wait, but you lost Dorian Finney-Smith and LeBron's going to be a year older and you really didn't make a splash. Typically, I think when polls like that come up, there's a knee-jerk reaction. It's like, well, the team didn't do enough. They suck. They this, they're that. That's not what people said. Now, the question was not also, are they top 2 in the West or are they top 3 in the West? So I think while the Lakers, I think, did get younger, got some size, and got better, it also, in the full context of the Western Conference, it doesn't mean that the Lakers are a top 2 or top 3 team in the West. Were you surprised of the poll, number one? And number two, what would you say about the Lakers offseason?
I wasn't surprised. I was surprised more people didn't vote that they got better. I thought maybe the number would wind up being higher. And the reason why I put that out there was just because of that, the negativity. We can drown in this pool of negativity that tends to permeate the offseason. So when I put that out there, the point was to look at, hey, did the team improve? Yes, in the context of the West, where a number of West teams really got better. We look at Houston, we look at Denver. Is what the Lakers did good enough right now? No, I don't think it's good enough. But people get into this extreme mindset. I've had people tell me, oh my God, they're going to be lucky to be a play-in team and the sky is falling and all that. I'm like, wait a minute, we're going a little bit far here for a team that was a 3 seed in the West last season. Yes, there was not a lot separating the 3 seed and say the 6 seed last year. And you know what? I'm not expecting it to be different this year. I think it's going to be a very tight race in the Western Conference all the way through. But the point is, there's all this negativity out there about this team, and that's so bad what they've done. When I think they improved the team. You got Jake LaRavia, I think, on a great contract. I think he's going to be a nice fit for the Lakers this year. You got DeAndre Ayton. You checked the biggest box that you needed to in getting a starting center. Yes, you lost Dorian Finney-Smith, and that hurts. That is going to hurt. That's going to make some challenges on the defensive end. I thought he was a difference maker on that side. And that does hurt losing him. But overall, if you told me you could take Jake LaRavia and DeAndre Ayton or Dorian Finney-Smith, you could have one of those two sides. I think I lean the Ayton and LaRavia side. So I think that bottom line, the Lakers did improve their roster this summer. And I just kind of want to put that out there. Like, hey, I know they didn't do enough and the work is not done and they've got more to do. But I do think they got better this summer. And I think the negativity has gotten to a point where we're a little bit too down on this team. Again, they are not done. They can't be done. If they're done, they have not done enough. I would not put them in contender status or anything like that. But I do think they made some improvements. Now they got to keep going here. But it's not last summer, Alan, they sat out.
Yeah.
They said no thank you to the summer. They made a couple of draft picks, and that was that. That's not what they've done so far this year. I think they've taken some steps in the right direction. They're going to have to continue down that path, but I don't think they're as bad as some people are making them out to be, as though they're somehow not a playoff team or not even a play-in team or whatever at this point. And I also think we're underselling the effect of what does Luka, LeBron, and Austin having a full offseason together look like? what does that just organic growth look like for this club as well? They had to dramatically change their play style midseason with that Luka trade, and really they did it twice. They dramatically changed their play style when they brought in Dorian Finney-Smith for D'Angelo Russell. Then they flipped it again like 6 weeks later when they traded for Luka. And now they're going to have time to really gel, build the team together, and go from there, and hopefully hit the ground running this season. So I think people are a little bit too down on the Lakers right now is the bottom line. And that's what the poll was really about.
Well, I think if we take a little bit more of a, let's say, a macro view on this, and if you told me, and I don't know how you feel about this, but we'll talk about the Western Conference for a quick second, because some of this is not just what you do. Some of this is what your conference does. Some of this of, I know we're not paying attention to the Eastern Conference, but the East as well. It's like, all right, well, if I was going through all the teams in the NBA, there's certain teams that wouldn't be in there in the East because of injuries. If I look at the West, OKC, Houston, and Denver, for me, I think that's the top three in the Western Conference. Really like what Denver did. Don't forget, Denver took OKC to 7 games. Houston, I think there's a little bit of a question mark there. I think there obviously is going to be health about Kevin Durant. There always will be. But, man, I like their philosophy. I like Ime Udoka. I like, what they were able to keep in that trade. I like the style of play that they have. And if there was one area they really struggled in was going to get buckets, well, you got one of the best bucket getters out there. And I don't think you really need him to do much else. He can just focus on what he does. I think after those three, you can sell me on, hey, the Clippers are good. You could sell me on Minnesota's good. You could sell me on Golden State might be a headache. But I'd put the Lakers in a similar category. I'm not 100% sure what all those teams are going to be. And I'm sure San Antonio is working their way up. We'll see how much, what the types of steps they take. Is Memphis competitive and really good? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but I think after those three, it feels like to me, there's a lot of question marks for many of those teams. And I've put the Lakers in a similar category.
Absolutely. Yeah, they are one of those teams that's competing right now to be the 4th best team in the Western Conference. And they're certainly in that mix. And we look at how they played last season. Again, I know what we saw most recently in the first round of the playoffs was not great. But what we saw for weeks before that, they had stretches where they were really good. And we went, whoa, okay, this team's really got something here. Now, there was a stretch where they performed really well defensively. Some of that might have been a little bit of luck in terms of opponents' three-point shooting percentage was abnormally low. But still, I do think there is something here with this team. Again, not saying they're a legit contender in the West right now. They have more work to do. Not saying they improved by leaps and bounds or they're significantly better than they were last year or anything, but I think we're underselling just the organic growth from this club. And I think we're not giving enough credit to the Laravia and Ayton additions. Dorian Finney-Smith walking definitely hurts in terms of that overall basketball math, but I do think they have improved here. So they're in the mix in the Western Conference, and they are, I think, a move or two away from being a legit contender, which, Alan, I get the frustration with that being in that spot, because that's also where they've been for years now in terms of, well, if they can just do this, if they could just fix this problem, then they can really, make a run. And that's kind of the world that they've been living in for a bit. But I do think they improved the team from last year. And hopefully they're not done, because again, they've got some defensive issues to address, some more things that they need to do. But I just don't think they're quite as bad as the doom and gloomers out there think.
Here's where I think some of the doom and gloom comes from, to be honest with you. I think some of it also has to do with they're in such a weird position. And I think that there's just, obviously this has been part of the conversation all summer as well. LeBron and Luke are 14 years apart. We all have analyzed the Rich Paul statement when he opted into his extension for 52.6 as if it's the JFK files. And we've looked at every piece of information that came from there. I think part of the frustration is they're stuck in a very difficult position here. You have a really difficult time planning out 5 years ahead. And you're also trying to win right now because LeBron is in the window he is. But decisions you might make for tomorrow or for today might not make sense for tomorrow. what I'm just kind of trying to figure out here. Let me give you an example. We saw the, and I know you were very active on this as well. When those reports were coming out about Andrew Wiggins potentially with the Lakers, and then there were kind of some trade ideas thrown out there. It was Rui, Dalton Connect, and a first rounder.
Mhm.
Those are really the only assets you have right now.
Yeah.
So if you push those assets to the middle of the table and you're looking at your cards in poker and it's 9-8 suited, it's like, am I going all in with this? You know, like, yeah, maybe I can hit something, but is that a good idea to be going all in with this? The point I'm making, Trev, is I think that part of this has to do with their current roster, and the other part of this has to do with, as an organization that eventually has got a plan with life after LeBron James, how are you responsible and also thinking about what life looks like down the road? So what's that balance act? Because I don't think if you give up Rui, Dalton Connect in your first rounder and you do that this summer for another player, whatever the case is, man, you can't miss because you only have so many assets left.
Mhm.
And there is going to be a time when LeBron's not with the Lakers. And you want, obviously, you want to be able to build a contender with Luka. You only got so much that you can work with. Do you agree that that's part of the frustration as well, is just because there's some unanswered questions that aren't going to get answered for at least a year?
Yeah, I mean, this is the Russell Westbrook trade, right? I mean, they're still paying for the sins of the Russell Westbrook trade, and that's part of the reason why the Lakers have consistently used future assets to try to solve immediate problems or fix the mistakes that they made in the past. And now they're in a position where they're so asset poor, they just, whatever they do, they cannot get it wrong. It has to be right. Whatever they do has to be the right decision. And when you're operating in that way, it can create hesitation. It can create inactivity. You look at the Thunder, right? The Thunder have tons of future assets, plus a great team already. They can make 5 mistakes, and it doesn't matter. They've got the assets to fix those mistakes.
And instead, they're trading Josh Giddey for Alex Caruso and hitting it on the money.
And
right?
Somehow not giving up any picks in that, despite having all the picks, they didn't have to give up any of them in that deal. So the Lakers are not in that position, and that's by no means is that to dismiss what it took to get there, because that's largely their own fault, right? In terms of them having this lack of assets right now. But it does mean that whatever they do, it's got to be right, and it's got to be not just a winning move, not just a move where they win the trade or whatever it is, right? It also has to be the right fit for this team. It's not just about winning the deal. It's about finding the right fit and the right pieces that are going to take you to the next level and identifying what those pieces are. And so that's going to be the challenge for them here moving forward.
Thank you very much for watching the clip. Just want to give a shout out here to one of our partners, the Wallace Firm. They are official injury attorney of the Sliwa Show and Hoops Talk, the entire channel. If you are ever in a need, and I hope you're not, but some type of serious injury with yourself or a family member of yours, I would like to personally help you by introducing you to the best in the business, Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. Also got a URL out here that you can use as well. Just go to wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Thank you for their partnership, and thank you for being a part of the Sliwa Show.